Well, welcome welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic playing around when everything Toyota is, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode of the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast, Jimmy Jet. How you doing, Jimmy Jet?
I'm doing good over here. Life's pretty good. How are things over there?
They're doing okay. You know, we're just kiddo is on quarantine from daycare for at least a week. So juggling life when you're used to two working parents that have a lot of responsibilities and normally depend on the kid going to daycare. As it gets to be interesting, but
Yeah.
here we're making it work. So
Good. Some flexibility is a benefit, I guess.
Yep. Be adaptable.
Definitely. So, what's on the docket today? We got anything coming up exciting or fun?
Today's Thursday's episode. So we've got kind of the shenanigans we get ourselves into, of course. So I don't have a whole lot. I did some work on the Mule, did some work on Kermit.
Okay.
The Mule is not with me at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a couple of the things going on my end of the world. I'm learning a lot about magnets, which is kind of cool, and how magnets work, and
Nice.
how they're made, and different processes for magnets. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that's been interesting. Long nights talking to engineers overseas about that kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, how you been?
That's fun. Yeah, my week's been pretty mellow for the most part, but my weekend was very chaotic. It was
Okay.
the weekend of dancing, and there was like 4 dance shows with the assistant and mini assistant had 2 to 4 dances in each show, depending on
Jeez.
the pattern or order they went in. So it was just chaos. There was a lot going on, a lot of organizing or like figuring out who's going to be where and who needs to deal with who and how are we getting people fed and just that. But besides that, I did get a little bit of work on Samantha done, and I do have some questions for people out there about their vehicles and how Samantha's looking to be set up so far. So I think it's going to be a good bit of show and tell here in a little, or more, I guess, tell and tell. Not so much show in podcast world, but
Yeah.
yes, I'm looking forward to revealing some information and seeing what you guys think.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested to hear kind of where Samantha's at. I did see a couple videos, short videos, probably on Instagram, of Samantha. So
Yep.
I'm curious to see and hear more about where you're at, and if you're ready to work on a rear axle. So
Pretty soon, yes. Yeah, for sure. But before we get there, we definitely have to talk about our giveaway this month, which is with our good friends from Vanquish. I believe they're actually Vanquish products because I had to look it up to put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Vanquish products, they make all the top notch, the best of the best RC crawler parts for you guys out there. Plus, they have a few RC remote control trucks and whatnots that you can purchase the entire kit from. But I think their bread and butter is like cool wheels or cool axles and some fun things like that. So if you're looking for any off-road RC products, make sure to check out Vanquish products out there, which happens to be one of our neighbors, which is also a lot of fun. But we'll be giving away an H10, the RTR, the Yokohama edition little race truck out there to a lucky winner for the December giveaway as a little gift from Tyler and I for the Christmas month. Speaking of Christmas, right over my right shoulder right here, that's your gift right there.
Oh.
I already have it. I'm already ahead of schedule.
Gifts too, but they're downstairs by the door.
So... Oh, okay. So maybe maybe the next time we get together, or maybe during the Christmas time, we can we'll be do our little gift exchange.
Yep. I will say where the hell is it? Where'd it go? Did the kid? Oh, he put it over here. I'm printing a bunch of these for like little family gifts. I don't know if people that are watching on video can look, but these are kind of cool. They're essentially a kind of like a fidgety device, and the interior of the box, the Christmas present, comes out, spirals out.
Oh, cool.
And then inside of this, hold on, I can't do this with the microphone. I need a mic stand in here, man. There. And then these two come apart.
Kind of twist
inside
it around.
It holds $1.
Yeah.
Or money, paper money, whatever you want to put in there. So, yeah, kind of fun little
big little piggy bank.
Yeah. Little fidget device piggy bank for like white elephant gifts or something. So.
That's cool. How fun. What other reviews? Let's talk. We got reviews to talk about.
And we also, for the month here, and every month, and kind of continuing on in the future, we also do a giveaway based on reviews for the podcast. So reviews are a really cool way to help us get into more ear holes, get it to more people out there. If people search on their podcast platform for Off-Road Podcast, reviews are one of the top ways that algorithms end up feeding that search result to people. So having more reviews gets us into more people into their heads, and in return, the more people we have listening to the podcast, the more really cool deals we get to work for you guys through sponsors, through vendors, etc. And so one of the things we're doing right now is a giveaway with OnX Off-Road. OnX Off-Road, if you guys are unfamiliar, is a really cool mapping software. Jimmy and I use it a lot on our mobile devices, our cell phones. And there's a lot of really cool features. And we just interviewed Hunter from OnX a couple weeks ago. So go check out Monday's episode with OnX. And listen to some of the really cool features that they're coming out with on the app that really helps off-roaders off-road responsibly, know where you are, don't get lost, and keeps you getting home after every trip. So check that out. It's a really cool piece of software. We are giving away an elite membership, which is a 1-year elite membership, their top-of-the-line tier that they do once we reach 800 reviews on the podcast. So go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, and that review is your entry into the giveaway at 800 reviews. And then once we get to 850 reviews, we'll give away another elite membership. And if you left a review earlier on, you're automatically entered for the 850 as well. And then at 900 reviews, we're doing a sweet, at least $1,000 worth of stuff from MORRFlate, multi-tire inflation-deflation devices and systems and kits and compressors and automated shit. So we're doing all that once we reach 900. So right now, I think last time we looked, we were at like 775 almost on the reviews. So at 800 is kind of that next step that we're looking to get to. So if you have not left a review yet, go leave a review. Make sure you keep track of the account name that you leave the review on, so that when we pull a winner and say it's this account, and it's your mother's account or something, you remember what that is so that you can claim your prize. So let's see. That's always going on. Go check those out whenever you guys can. And any other reviews or giveaway stuff we got going on?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
We got the monthly giveaway going on, and we got the
Mhm.
reviews giveaway. That's about it happening right now.
Yep.
Yeah. We do have some events coming up pretty quick. We
Yep.
got Cal 4 Wheels Winter Fun Fest coming up in, about a month from now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's about a
then
month. Yeah.
about 6 weeks from now, roughly, will be King of the Hammers. Actually, King of the Hammers technically starts the weekend after Winter Fun Fest. It's insane. It's like a
Yeah.
3-week event now.
Yeah.
But for the majority of us that want to go down and see the Ultra 4 race primarily, I think that's on like February 6th this upcoming 2026.
Yep. Yeah. Amber gave me a call and asked me to help with Slosson's communications again.
Okay.
So going up and setting up their equipment, making sure it's all running and testing properly, up on top of Fisher. BLM is supposedly putting up radio equipment, permanent radio equipment on Fisher.
Oh,
So I'm not sure how that is going to be interacting with all the race teams' radio equipment up there, or if BLM is going to be happy about the race teams putting radio equipment up there right next to their permanent equipment. So I've been told third hand that, or second hand, I guess, that it's going to be okay, that the race teams can go put equipment up there. But I don't know if they're actually talking to the RF engineers up there because I don't know what power the BLM is going to be outputting and if that's going to wipe out the signals on all the race teams or vice versa, if there's going to be a race team that runs enough power to fuck with the BLM signals. So it could be interesting this year. We'll kind of feel it out and see how all that goes.
but if you're on different frequencies, are you still going to be blanketing another person's? Like,
depends how much power you're running, how clean your signal is in the transmitter, and how close you are in frequency to the other users. So,
yeah. So the BLM is going to be like, this is our frequency. You got to stay so far away from it. Otherwise, you guys can go up there.
Oh yeah, and they're operating on a completely different frequency. That's the whole point of having a band plan and saying why ham radio operators are not allowed to go on emergency dispatch frequencies and why recreational GMRS users should not be on commercial frequencies, rugged radios and PCI. That's all separated it out so that BLM and land managers have their own kind of frequency space.
Got it. And you have a commercial space as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can be in a zone or a frequency that nobody else can be on.
Yeah, in theory, yeah, but there's so many commercial entities down on that lake bed that inevitably there's going to be two commercial or more entities that have the same frequency. So, yeah,
It seems, unless you claim that's your commercial space, then nobody else can be on it. Is that sort of the gist of that? Like you have a territory, right?
you have a 75-mile radius if you do a claimed territory. You have to do a claimed frequency in your claimed territory, and then you have exclusive rights to that frequency. But a lot of race teams go and race all over in different areas, so they don't get that 75-mile explicit zone for their
Right.
frequencies. They get what's called a shared zone frequency, which means anybody else that has access to that frequency as a shared zone, which are usually by state, they can be on that frequency as well. It's not an explicit use.
Oh, gotcha.
So usually, I mean, if you were a logging company or a campground that needs to use radios to talk to everybody across the campground or whatever, that'd be no problem. You're very unlikely to encounter other people trying to use the same frequencies in that area. But when you get 100 to 200 race teams together on a dried up lake bed, it gets to be Wild West of radio frequency usage out there and people yelling at each other over radios. So
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it. That makes sense. Somewhat, I guess. I think if you have a frequency, I don't know. I would assume that if you claimed your frequency, you should have it for the state. I don't know. I guess there's too many people that want frequencies that they can't claim a specific area.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Too many nerds out there.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, fun. Yeah, I think that's about it. For the most part, I'm going to definitely be going down to the King of Hammers this year, probably closer to the Ultra 4 race. I know that you're going down as well. So we look forward to seeing everybody down there. We may talk about doing a listener run, is something we've mildly discussed off air. So if that does get finalized, we will notify everybody if you guys are going to be out there. That'd be a lot of fun. Yep. We should figure that out before last minute, like we normally pull everything off. But we also have a sort of a penciled in date for a possible snow camping trip, which could be fun as well. And yeah, so we'll be keeping everybody informed about some of these upcoming dates and times and events when we have them finalized on our end as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love running Fisher Mountain at nighttime down in King of the Hammers. Turkey Claw is always a fun time at nighttime.
Yeah.
To go do it. It's not really a difficult trail, but it seems like it always ends up being a clusterfuck in there. So, and it has a really awesome view of the lake bed at the end of it. So
true.
That's always a possibility as well. But either of those works out great. It just means, do you want to be more in the party area, or do you want more of the area to yourself kind of thing?
Right.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I think that's everything for general housekeeping.
Yep. Sounds good. Then we will take a quick break, and we'll be right on back with kind of what we've been up to, some updates on the vehicles and the rigs. Grab your favorite drink and your favorite snack, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, I love going out wheeling and I love playing in the outdoors, and one of the main tools I rely on for all of the activities is onX Off-Road. onX keeps me in the know, it keeps me on the trails, and it keeps me from getting lost so that I can make it back home to my family and friends. There's tons of tools and data available for outdoor activities on the app that helps you plan your next trip, and it helps keep the adventures rolling. Start your free trial over at onxmaps.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to kind of the main topic of today, which is Thursday, which means Jimmy and I are typically getting ourselves into trouble. Not really trouble. We're sometimes trouble, a lot of times trouble. But we get to tell the stories about what we've been up to and what we've found out and things that we've done over the past week. So, yeah, I guess I have an update on the Mule. I have an update on Kermit. And that's about it.
Huh?
So,
all right. Well, I got a little bit of updates on Samantha, and then just sort of general chat about what the chaos of this last weekend and everything was. But so why don't we talk about the Mule? I'm kind of curious where it's at, what it's up to. I have a guess, but I'm curious.
Yeah. So the Mule, I really wanted to, we got the rear swing out done. I got the rifle case loaded up with all the fluids, and the rifle case wants to fall down into the rear cargo hatch of the 4Runner, right? Mm-hmm. And so those bolts rub on the rear hatch, and I've rubbed the paint away in a couple spots. So I need to find a way to hold the rifle case up. And what I've been doing is I've been holding it up with a ratchet strap, just strapped up to the top bar of the rear swing out. And that's held it secure, but it's definitely not ideal, because if you want to go and use the rifle case and pull it down as like a countertop or get into the fluids, you have to undo that ratchet strap. And it's just a pain in the ass to have to undo and redo that every time you want to use the swing out. So I got a couple of those T locking pins
Yeah.
So it's a T-handle pin with a ball detent on one end. You push the button in at the T, and it releases the ball detent at the other end. And I put that on the lever that locks the swing out to the bumper. So that'll stay closed. There's no way for that to come out and accidentally open the swing out without me wanting it to open. So I was like, let's find a way to utilize another one of those for holding the rifle case up at tensioned in its upwards position. And so I kind of was looking around like, what's going to be the best way to do this? There's a couple spots I can kind of mount to the rifle case. I could add another bolt through the case and then a bracket up. But in order to do that, it would have to be on the top side of the case. And the top side of the case, I want to reserve for that custom SnailArmor as a metal aluminum surface to put hot things on. So it's like, I can't really make a new bracket off the top of the case. So how maybe there's like little holes in the mating surface between the top and bottom of the case designed for locks, right? So you can put a lock on there and people can't get into your rifle case. I was debating on trying to build something off one of those, but then I was like, but in order to do that, you have to remove that bracket or every time in order to pull the case down and open the case kind of thing. So I'm like, I don't know, it seems like there wasn't a great way to do that. And so what I ended up doing was on the sides, the ends of the rifle case, there's a wire cable that comes down and attaches the side of the case to the upper bar of the swing out so that when the case comes down, it's supported like a tailgate does, right? The same thing the tailgate is.
Okay.
And so there's a big, fat, like 3/4 inch bolt that goes through the rifle case to hold the cable, the wire cable, so that it sits flat and is supported when it sits there. So what I did was I took some metal and figured out roughly about where everything would need to line up in order to create a flat piece with a hole 5/16 hole through it, and then welded that to the top of the bolt going into the case holding that cable. So essentially the bolt comes out of the case and it's got a perpendicular plane. The head of the bolt is a perpendicular plane to the swing out. And then it was close enough to the bar of the swing out that comes down, the vertical bar, to be able to put another flat piece of metal plate of steel on the bar and then put another 5/16 hole in it. And then they were close enough away from each other to put another locking T-pin in between them. Yeah. And so I'm really happy about how it turned out. It's really tight. It is tensioned. I have to kind of push the case up against the swing out in order to get the two holes to line up correctly for the locking T-pin.
Okay.
And it holds everything nice and secure. So I'm pretty happy about how that turned out. It was fun. I got that done in about maybe 2 hours, just trying to figure things out. The tolerances are really tight on it because I don't want that thing moving around and rattling around and creating leverage so that everything comes loose over time. So I got that done. It works great. The T-pins that I got have little tethers on them, so I put them both on a couple of the bolts that hold the locking lever for the swing out into the swing out. So they're tethered to the swing out itself, and there's 2 pins, and one goes in the lever, one goes in to hold the rifle case up. So I really like how that turned out. Happy with it. And then I wanted to get that done before I dropped off the Mule to have the wrap done on it.
That's what I was guessing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I've been planning out the wrap for a while now. And we picked a slightly same color theme, but a very different design from Kermit. Kermit is obnoxious, right?
Yeah,
Kermit
sure.
is
Yeah.
not what's the right word? He's not scale. He's not proportionate, right?
Oh yeah.
He's got a small little 94 4Runner cab with these massive axles and tires that stick out completely from the body of the 4Runner. And so I was like, I want an obnoxious wrap on Kermit, so we did that. The digital camo, neon green digital camo, and everybody calls it the Minecraft truck now. So
Yes. Yeah.
I get a lot of kids complimenting it on the Minecraft of it. So I did that on Kermit. So this wrap, I was like, kind of an ode to Stellar Built, and Stellar Built likes to make things impressive, but they do such a good job at making everything look like it fits really well. Everything is really well thought out. Everything is very well proportionate to each other. Like in theory, the mule's axles are just as wide as Kermit's, but it doesn't look disproportionate and obnoxious. It fits the body of the 4th Gen 4Runner really, really well. It just looks like everything goes together. And so I wanted to kind of keep an ode to Stellar. And the way that they do all of their logoing on vehicles, it just kind of blends in, and it's not loud, in your face obnoxious, but the vehicles themselves are in your face noticeable, right?
Sure.
So I kind of wanted to keep that feel of the Mule. And so what I did was I found a vinyl wrap that is neon green,
Okay.
candied. So are you familiar with candied paint, vehicle paint?
Isn't it sort of iridescent, glittery?
Yes. So essentially, with a candied vehicle paint, it's essentially you do kind of a multi-layer of colors, and then you add glitter into it that are also multicolored glitter. And so what ends up happening is you get this effect that when you don't have it in direct sunlight, you get one color. But as soon as the sun hits it from just the right angle, it changes color.
Right.
And so
Chameleon.
it's kind of like a chameleon. So I found this wrap that mimics candied paint jobs. And it kind of looks like a dull, I don't want to say a dull, but it's a darker green. Almost like a true green when it's just not in direct sunlight. But as soon as the direct sunlight hits it, you get that glitter neon green effect out of it.
Cool.
And so when I dropped off the Mule, I got to see the wrap in person for the first time, the vinyl tube of wrap, right? And I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty freaking awesome.
Sweet.
So it's still going to be loud in your face, but it's not going to be obnoxious. It's going to be a really cool, noticeable vehicle that's really, really going to stand out without being that obnoxious digital camo kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see it all done. We made a couple of slight modifications to the livery, as it's called, the logoing on the vinyl wrap that's going to be overlaid over the vinyl.
Okay.
But I think he said that he's going to get it done in about a week and a half here, and I'll get it back.
That's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I bet.
Yeah. So that's what I did to the Mule, and that's what the Mule is currently getting worked on. I have not had a chance to sit down and measure the front suspension yet. I'm still pretty sure that the caster is off on the front, so on the front axle. So I just need to sit down and measure everything, but I haven't had time to, and I don't have the rig now, so I've got to wait for it to come back before I can measure caster and figure out all those front end suspension measurements. I will say I'm surprised nobody has called us out on this. We've been saying that when you take your caster and move the steering arms upwards, that it's a negative caster, I believe, is what we've been saying. That's positive.
Oh,
so
is it?
Yeah. We were talking about the right direction. We want to move the steering arms, and the way you need to move them in order to make the steering more stable on a vehicle. But I think we've been saying negative caster, and that's positive caster. So,
okay. Yeah. And so how do you check the caster?
Good question. So essentially you need to you need to figure out the angle of the ground you're on. And then the difference of the steering arms to the ground, of that angle, whatever that angle difference is, that's what your caster is.
Okay.
So
as long as your steering arms are flat, I guess, right?
Well, you need to find a flat spot on your steering arms,
and or your
usually
knuckle.
you can find a flat spot on the steering arms. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I guess the top of the knuckle.
That's what I
would be another way to do it.
Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were playing with the caster a while ago for Samantha, and what we ended up doing was just we put 2 bolts into the knuckle because all that's on the axle is the knuckle, right? And it's just kind of bolted down into place. And so the bolts are symmetrical, and so you can no matter if you have it on the right side or the left side, it's the same degree. So we know that those are pretty much at 0. And so, or the same angle either side. And so that we put the 2 bolts in on the 2 uppermost outer holes that would hold the spindle on for the Toyota knuckle. And then we put a piece of metal across that, and then we put the gauge on top of that, and that told us what our caster is.
Yep, that would work too. Yeah, so ideally for bigger tires, you want to be somewhere between 6 and 9 degrees positive caster. So lifting up the steering arm or the top of the knuckles upwards. So we'll see what the Mule is at. I would have assumed that when I asked Stellar to do a raise the ride height on the suspension, that they would have adjusted the geometry appropriately for that. And apparently, I don't think they did. I don't think they touched the steering geometry at all when they did it. So, just another thing to keep in mind, that whenever you do a ride height adjustment on your suspension, you always should go and immediately get a alignment at the same time and make sure that everything is spec'd accordingly of how you want it in your vehicle. So
I agree with that.
Yep. So I gotta wait for the Mule to come back for that. I have finished Kermit.
Okay.
And so the saga that's been going on with Kermit has been the parking brake, those electric parking brakes. And the last, I think where we left everybody off at was that I had everything testing and everything with a bigger fuse in the system to power the entire electric parking brake system, working just fine. So
interesting. Okay, so how much, what fuse did you change to, and is that okay with what Willwood specs?
Yeah, I thought we had talked about that. I guess not. So
we did off air.
Gotcha. Okay, that's why. So I called Willwood and I was like, do you have a wiring diagram? I just want to look at your wiring diagram of how these things work so that I can make sure that it was all actually installed properly. Everything was set up correctly. I need the pinouts for the ECM, the controller, the pinouts for the motors, the electric parking brake motors, so that I can just confirm that everything is connected the correct way. And so they sent me the wiring diagram, and I started looking through it, and I was like, okay, everything seems to be connected correctly. All I need to do now is go look at the pinouts of the connectors themselves and confirm that the wires are in the correct pins for the
Okay.
connectors on the pinouts. And I was looking at it for a second. I was like, hold on. This fuse right here, and I called them back, and I was like, I just want to confirm the fuse on your wiring diagram to power the whole system. So the battery load is fused on your wiring diagram with a 40 amp fuse. Is that what you guys ship with your wiring harness? And she went and looked at it, and I pulled up pictures of the wiring harness online while she was also looking at it. And she goes, no, yeah, that looks like we ship it with a 40 amp fuse. And I'm like, interesting. My system has a 7.5 amp fuse in it right now. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's not right. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not right. So I don't know when or why the 7.5 amp fuse got put in. But it's a different, if it's a different style fuse. So I use the mini blade ATO fuses. And they use Willwood sends the big ones, the big standard ATM fuses, I think they're called.
Interesting.
The standard ones. So at some point, I don't know if it happened during the install or I did it after the fact sometime. I mean, I haven't really messed around with the electric parking brakes too much at all since they were installed. So until I've had this issue now. At some point, a 7.5 amp fuse got put in there.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know if that was the source of all my problems with the parking brake system. I sent the ECM back to Willwood, the old one, the original one that I got, and put the new one in. I think we talked about that. They were awesome and sent me a new ECM, pretty much no charge, under warranty. Even though I was beyond the warranty point. So huge kudos to Willwood for working with that. I do want to call them back and kind of check up on the return, the warranty, to be like, hey, just curious, did you guys find anything wrong with that? Was it an overvoltage issue, or was it? Because now that I found the fuse issue, I'm kind of like, maybe it's a perfectly good ECM and the fuse was strangling the system.
It might have been.
So anyways, I put a 20 amp fuse in it. Everything seems to be working just fine. But when I pulled the caliper off of the passenger side to switch sides and do testing on to make sure it was all working, I dropped the caliper and broke the plug that the wiring harness plugs into on the caliper. So I had no way to really connect their wiring harness to the caliper. And I was like, I got to order another caliper now. And I went and looked at the calipers, and they're like $350, $400 per caliper.
Yeah, they're expensive.
And I was like, I can't bring myself to do this. And I was like, I know how to solder. Why don't I just fucking solder? Solder some new wires directly to the caliper plugs, connectors. And then I have waterproof Deutsch connectors. So I'll just take and cut their connector off of their wiring harness, wire in the Deutsch connector, solder on the other side of the Deutsch connector to the caliper, and then weatherproof it with it's weatherproof rubber tape, and it's called rescue tape.
Okay.
So we gave a bunch of rescue tape out in one of our gift boxes.
Yes, we did.
A few years back. So anybody who got one of those, I used that rescue tape, and it's used all the time in waterproofing antenna connections up on towers. And you can also use it to waterproof electrical connections in a lot of different scenarios. Don might use it. I know he does a lot of work on boats, electrical boats, or boats electrical systems. So anyways, I used that to wrap it around the soldering area to create as much of a weatherproofed spot as I could, protection for the solders. And then with the Deutsch connectors, that's all waterproof. So put everything back on this morning. The kid helped me out, which was kind of fun. And I went around and drove around the block to test it and run the parking brake and then run the vehicle because I haven't ran Kermit in pretty much since like the MORRFlate run, which was the
Wow.
MORRFlate Rubicon run, which was middle of September. So it's been almost 3 months now. Is that right? 2.5 months
Dang.
since I've ran Kermit, and he started right up. No issues. The battery was at 13.9 or 13.09 volts, 13.1 volts. So no draw on the electrical system, which is great. Started right up, no issues. Drove around the block to make sure that the batteries are charged. Parking brakes all work just fine. So
Nice.
Kermit is back up and running.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was so nice. Like driving the Mule is we talked about it last session. It's relaxing. It's convenient, right? But I love the steering on Kermit. Like I want to just take the steering off of Kermit and put it on the Mule. Good, at least
We could do that.
I need to fix. We could. I need to fix the geometry and confirm that the suspension geometry is correct on the Mule before I dive into the steering system, and the hydraulic system on the Mule's steering. But there's been a couple of really good ideas that have come out from talking about the Mule's steering issues.
Yeah.
One is Radial Dynamics has an overpressure valve, I guess. I don't know exactly what you would call it. I need to look it up and see exactly what he calls it, Eric at Radial Dynamics. But essentially what it does, it limits the pressure of your steering system to 1600 psi. So if you end up getting more pressure than that, it releases the excess pressure and has it go straight back into your reservoir, which also helps ensure that your power steering system runs cool at the same time. It's a really neat little dual purpose thing. So I was thinking about getting that valve, as well as trying to find a way to limit the flow rate of the system. There's a pressure. Every fluid dynamic system has pressure and flow to it. So I think that there could be two things going on. One is pressure and one is flow rates. I don't know what flow rate PSC's pump runs at, what pump I have in the Mule, and what bore the ram is, the hydraulic ram on the Mule. The larger the bore, the more flow you're going to get. And the more hydraulic flow you have, kind of the more twitchy your system can be. It's great in the rocks when you're crawling, but at highway speeds, more flow is not necessarily what you want. So being able to try and find something that maybe I can neck down the system and do a variable valve to limit the flow when I'm at highway speeds could be nice. And I've been talking to a guy. Do you remember Ben? He was out at Cruise Moab, and he has the Hilux, the right-hand drive Hilux with the four-wheel underground suspension on it.
I think I've met him, but I've never seen that truck.
Okay, it's a 4-door right-hand drive Hilux.
I know it. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, Jimmy, this is Jimmy's wet dream vehicle.
I haven't seen it in person. Yeah.
Gotcha. I've been chatting with him because he's been having issues with his truck being really twitchy at highway speeds, kind of like what the Mule has. And so he took on his tube bender, he has a variable valve on his tube bender, so he can slow down the flow of the hydraulic fluid on his tube bender, so it doesn't bend really quickly, I guess.
Okay.
He took that variable valve off and put it on his truck, the steering truck, to test this theory that we've been discussing. And he went and drove it, and he goes, it worked, but I really had to strangle the steering system to the point at which the power steering system was not happy at running that low of a flow. So the next thing he's trying is apparently the power steering pump that he has from PSC is a 3 gallon per minute, a 3 GPM flow rate pump. He found out that there's a Corvette pump that only does 2 gallons per minute flow rate.
Okay.
So he's going to now get a hold of one of those Corvette pumps, put that in the truck, and see if decreasing the flow rate by 33% helps solve that problem.
Sure.
So that's kind of the next hypothesis that we're trying is because decreasing the flow rate with that valve that he had worked, but the power steering system, you starved the pump by doing that. So if you can find a pump that already runs at a whatever flow rate you like, I think that's where we're heading with it. So
Okay.
I also kind of want to call up Eric at Radio Dynamics and just talk with him about the whole situation and see kind of what he would recommend for this issue. So
Right. It seems like if you slow your pump down, if you go from 3 to 2 gallons per minute or whatever the rating was, that's going to be good for freeway speed, but not necessarily good for off-road speed.
Correct. And that's kind of the thing where, you have to find that balance of either the point that it balances at where you're okay with both. Maybe it's not amazing in the rocks, and maybe it's not amazing at highway speeds, but it does both really well. Like right now, the Mule is amazing in the rocks as long as I keep the RPMs over 700 RPM.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks at highway speed, man.
Right.
So I don't know.
We need a
There's
variable
also,
pulley.
right? A variable pulley, yeah. Apparently, I've also been learning a lot about orbitals because full hydraulic systems have really nice orbital technology nowadays that are designed to keep your steering very straight and centered at high speeds. Think high-speed desert racing with full hydraulic steering systems.
Right.
A lot of Ultra 4 cars right now are using these self-centering orbitals that apparently do really, really well, and they're very stable at high speeds. But you get all the strength in the world in the rocks at low speeds.
Right.
So if I go that route, I have to decide if I want to dabble in going that route, or if there's a way to do an orbital hydraulic steering setup while still maintaining the mechanical linkage in case anything happens. I can still drive it home, right? So that'll be kind of next on the list, and that's something I think I just need to talk to Eric and pick his brain about and see what kind of radio dynamic stuff I get to put on the Mule soon.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Get that PSC stuff out of there.
Yeah, I mean PSC makes good stuff.
Yeah, they do.
But it seems, I don't know, it seems like when I haven't called PSC, but I've heard from people the feedback about PSC is that they're kind of like, I don't know, this is what we recommend for people, and if it doesn't work, not sure what to tell you. Your geometry is fucked, and that's what they tell you. Whereas like Eric, everybody I've talked to that's talked with Eric, and I've talked with Eric myself, we've talked with him on the podcast.
Yep.
He loves chatting with people about power steering systems and finding solutions that work for people and their specific issues. Whereas I think PSC is just a really big company and they don't have the time to do that and they don't care about doing that. So I'm going to go with the company that cares about doing that. Is I think where I'm heading towards. So
sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess we'll hear that saga when you get the Mule back and from the wrap and you start diving into some of that. Depending on timeline on Winter Fun Fest and King of the Hammers and Cruise Moab and everything in between, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a lot going on pretty quickly, I think, once January hits. So, yeah.
Cool. Sounds fun. Well, on my end, I just will quickly go over like everything else besides Samantha, where I had like the week was fairly normal for me, and then the weekend was just chaos with all the dances that my girls were doing, and me sort of as a supporting role and and needing to go to at least one show, which is thankfully out of the 4 shows that the assistant did and the 3 shows the mini assistant did, I fortunately only had to sit through one of them, so that was good for me at least. And then let's see, so during Saturday,
sanity.
yeah, just like I understand going to support your family and being there and helping out and doing whatever you can, but the repetition of seeing the same thing 4 times, like I'm not really too interested in that.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, since I had Saturday morning free, I actually went on a walk/run. And I did the 9.3 miles that my 15K coming up in January is going to be. So I walked for 5 minutes, and then I ran for 5 minutes, and then I walked for 5 minutes, ran for 5 minutes for 9.3 miles. So that was pretty wild.
How long did that take you?
It took about 2 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's about how long it took the guys to finish the California National Marathon.
Yeah, right. And I ran 9 miles, or went 9 miles, and they did
26.
26, yeah.
Yeah.
They're about 3 hours, aren't they? I think a 3-hour mark is the tough one.
2 hours and 10 minutes is when the first guy crossed the line. And
Dang.
I haven't done the math on that yet, but say 2 hours, 10 minutes, that's 130 or a 60,
Let's do it
120,
real quick.
130 minutes, right?
So 2 hours times 60 is 120 and 10 minutes, so that's 130. And then if you divide that by 26, that's 5 minute.
They ran
5-minute miles.
5-minute miles for 26 miles.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was like 12-minute miles,
yeah,
but I was walking about half of it.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so
I don't understand runners. I never will. I don't get it.
No.
That's not a world that I have any care to be a part of.
No, not so much. I would definitely not be doing this event if it wasn't for my friends all sort of like, let's do something. So that's the only reason I'm going to do it for the most part. But now the assistant and mini assistant signed up for the 5K on the same race, so that'll be fun. Nice. Regardless, the next day I was so sore, and not so much muscle sore, but more like joint sore. Like my hips and my knees were sore. And that was one of the things I was curious about, because like I could walk 9 miles, no problem. I don't think I would hurt my body in any way. It would just be time consuming. But, and I ran 5 mile or 5K. So 3.1 miles the other weekend, and I was fine. So I was like, okay, how's my body going to handle a bigger distance? Because in roughly a month, I'm going to be doing a race that's that distance, and my body's not ready for it. So now that my game is, one, I need to get better, more in shape for running, but 2, I need to figure out a way to get my body used to that impact. So I need to do some research on that. So anyway, so besides that,
is there any way you could like trick your gout into creating light fluffy things in your joints rather than crystals?
Yeah, I wonder. That would be good if I could do that somehow.
Right.
It's probably like, yeah, you just drink a lot of water, idiot, instead of all the alcohol. But I don't know. Yeah, I'll look into it for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Much appreciated. That'd be Jimmy's superpower.
Yeah, there you go. So on Thursday, Hustle Nuts came over and we did some work on Samantha. We didn't do a ton of work, but we did a lot of stuff that kind of took a fair amount of time.
Gotcha,
one thing we found is that when we installed the engine mount that I made, when we were walking around after the fact, we noticed that the engine mount on the other side, the factory engine mount, wasn't completely seated in the right spot. And so when we started up working together, I pretty much cut the mount off from the frame. We lifted the engine up, moved it around, reseated the engine mount that was on the driver's side. And then that actually clocked the engine a little bit and moved it maybe like an inch forward from where it was. And so then we re-welded the tabs down in the new location just so that there wouldn't be any binding or anything. If I ever have to take that mount off, I don't want it to be too difficult and or too hard to put back in if I need to by like cranking on the motor one way or another.
Yeah.
So we did that. That was like the big fab thing we did. We also put the new aluminum links from Four Wheel Underground on and made that look all pretty. And the thing that was nice about that is now we have a set position for that axle for the most part.
Nice.
There's still some, I still need to make the upper link, and I still need to make the pan hard bar and put the pan hard bar frame mount link on, or frame mount on there. And then that really is going to set the position in that 3-link and get that figured out. But from there, we were just looking at things and we were talking about it, and we figured we need to set the frame up at ride height and set the axles at ride height. And so we can start positioning the axle in the correct orientation and setting the right caster up and looking at how things are going to lay out front to back and what our like wheelbase could possibly be. And we could, everything sort of goes off of like, where's frame height? And the big question is like, okay, well, where is frame height? Like, how can we figure that out? Or how do we want it? And so we figured that the way that we had everything set up was roughly at complete bump, at like as most compressed as it could possibly be. So we took a measurement from where the bump stop strike pad would be to the frame, and it was about 4 inches. And so then I'm going to run 14-inch coilovers. And so Husmann's like, how much up travel do you want? And I said, it'd be rad if I could get about 5 inches. Mm-hmm. And if 4 to 5 inches would be like fantastic. So we said, okay, well, we need to lift the axles up to a center point about 20 inches because I'm going to try to run 40s. Okay. And then from the strike pad, we need to go up the 4 or the 5 inches that it was, or the 4 inches that it was to the frame, plus 4 to 5 more inches above that. So we put it about 9 inches up.
Okay.
So that makes my frame height at 20 to the bottom of the frame is 28 inches.
Wow.
And then the bottom of the skid plate is about 25 inches.
That's pretty spot on to where Kermit is.
I know, and that's too tall. In my opinion, that's too tall. And the thing is, the only way necessarily to get it lower would be to lower my up travel or figure out workarounds to lower the frame and keep the same up travel. Right, like notching the frame, or I don't know, or changing stuff around one way or another. But I think my biggest limiting factor is where the pan hard goes is going to be my oil pan. Yep. And I don't know if there's a better option for oil pans for the 22RE to make it skinnier. I already have the 2-wheel drive one, which I believe is about as small as it can get. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it. I need to figure that out. The oil pan hangs below the frame, so I will probably collide with the oil pan before I even have to worry about notching the frame. I could raise the engine. That was a thought that I had, and then I'd have to build a whole new engine bracket again. Which wouldn't be a horrible thing, but so there's a few ideas that are running around trying to figure it out, but it does make... So Bobcat sits 25 inches to the frame when we measured. We went outside and measured Bobcat, and I think Bobcat was about 25 inches to the frame and 21 inches to the skid plate. So Bobcat is 3 inches lower than where Samantha will be. And I'd rather have it closer to Bobcat, and I really wanted to have it lower than Bobcat when I started this adventure, but just the way that everything kind of lays itself out, everything got raised up more than I had originally anticipated when but I was also when I originally was anticipating where my frame height would be. I was planning on doing a 3-link custom person, like me building a 3-link front and like really low, like possibly spring under leaf springs in the rear with those slider boxes from Liquid Iron Industries, I think is what the brand was. So things were going to be very different than where they are today.
Yeah. The hydraulic bump stops that we have are the 4-inch hydraulic bumps from Radflow.
Mm-hmm.
So where you have the strike pad and where the strike pad makes contact first with the striker of the bump stop, you've still got 3 to 4 inches of compression on that bump stop before it fully bumps out.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could raise that on the frame, put that up higher on the frame. That way you can drop the frame down. I would guess you would have about 2 to 3 inches to play with, which would still only bring you down to about where Bobcat's at.
Maybe. So the bump stop's not even, I don't even have the bump stop on the vehicle at the moment. I was just going off of where the strike pad was. Is that what you're referring to? Because the way that the four-wheel underground bracket is, it's all that strike pad's built into his link and everything.
Correct, but you said your measurement was from the strike pad to your frame.
Correct.
Was 4 inches at full bump. You're assuming that full bump is 4 inches.
Yeah, and that is because that's where the pan hard bar would be pretty much going through my oil pan.
Gotcha.
And so when I'm at full compression,
okay.
Yeah, it's not a matter of where the distance there. That just happens to be the distance when I'm at full bump.
Okay.
When I'm at full compression.
I thought you were saying that was the distance you were setting due to placement of the bump stops, not things colliding and packaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sense. It's when I'm at full compression, when I'm at the point at which I think I'm colliding with my oil pan. That happens to be 4 inches from the strike pad to the frame.
Gotcha.
And so then from that point, we raised the frame 5 more inches because I wanted 5 inches of up travel. Yep. And so that puts my frame at 28 inches. So really my what do they call it? My social gathering, social question here is I want to know what people's frame heights are. Like, what are your guys' frame heights? We've talked about this a few times, and we've had a few listeners actually respond and message us with some vehicle dimensions or their vehicle dimension. And I made that post on Instagram showing where Samantha is and like how it's currently being set up and the aluminum links, how beautiful they are, and just the whole everything. Like I got the axle in place, the front axle's in place, the frame's at right height. I'm adjusting and looking at the rear axle and kind of figuring the layout of that. And I had a lot of great feedback. A lot of people actually responded to that video and said like, I am so excited to see you working on Samantha. You need to start releasing more content like this. I want to watch you build it, And I'm like, yep. I know. I need to do more of this. And Maximus, who got outdone as our number one listener that I've from what I've seen. So Wreck-It Rob, I think, was at 9,000 minutes listened to on the SnailTrail4x4 podcast.
Yeah.
And he's in the top 1%. And then Max reached out and said, I got Wreck-It Rob beat. He was at 9,200. And then some gentleman, sorry, I forgot your name, that's from Tasmania, is at 9,600.
What?
Yeah, so some guy from Tasmania is our number one listener. But I believe Spotify will say that you are the number one listener. So whoever you are, if you're listening to this and you're on Spotify, if it says your SnailTrail4x4's number one listener, reach out. Well, I'll definitely send you some swag of some sort.
We'll have some prizes for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
Anyway,
I didn't
so
realize Spotify said that. So if the
yeah,
dude from Tazzy did not have the notification that he's the number one listener, then the
no,
number one listener is still out there.
number one listener
Wow.
still out there, and you're over 9,600. So
Wow.
yeah, wild. Anyway, so Max reached out and he's like, everything's looking great. I'm excited to see you doing this, the build, like, give me some small feedback. And I said, hey, what's your frame height? Like, I want to know.
Uh-huh.
And I believe he said it's like 21 inches.
Wow.
I'm gonna pull it up right now. So, but it's fun. The social aspect of social media, when you have questions and you want feedback and you're connecting with all these people. There's like 80 people that have commented on that video. It's wild. And it's fun to be able to pick people's brains and like communicate with them. And I would have no other way to be able to contact these people without social media, or we never would have been in contact in the first place. So it's really kind of cool. Let's see. He said, frame is at 23 1/4 and cross member is at 21.
Okay.
So he's
that's
2 inches below Bobcat.
Yeah, 2 inches below Bobcat. That is right about. No, I think the Mule was 1 inch shorter, and I want to say the Mule should be about that measurement now. I don't have the cardboard here. We're not at the studio to be able to look at it. Also, I don't think we remeasured after we did the ride height adjustment, did we?
For the Mule?
Yeah.
No, we haven't yet.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to redo that, figure out that ride height adjustment. But I'll do that when I measure out all the suspension stuff and figure out where I'm at on caster and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm curious too. I do know that we put the call out to JK and JL owners at one point. What was your frame height? Because I was like, I feel like JKs and JLs just sit really low. Their chassis is a very low chassis. And I want to say the couple pictures I got back were between 20 and 21 inches on frame height.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And their fun thing that we kind of learned about JKs and JLs, Wranglers in general, for the most part, is it seems like they're a flat belly style, so that all the transmission and T-case and everything is above the bottom of the frame. And so where like yours and mine, like our T-case hangs below and maybe the transmission barely, but our T-case has that dropped front output, and that hangs down a few inches, that reduces our ground clearance, where our frames are a little higher. But then if you take our T-case mount or T-case skid plate, we're kind of in that same ballpark where the Jeeps are.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyways, I really would like some feedback. If you guys are on Link suspension, if you're a Toyota that's on Link suspensions, especially your feedback, what is your frame height? Like, where are you at? How, not that it's going to be able to change where I'm going too much, but I'm just curious, like, where are most people at? Like, what is people's frame heights that are in Northern California, Sand Hollow, kind of general off-roading wheeling style? Like, where do you sit? Like, what is it that, do you feel that yours is too high, too low? Where are you at? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I like where Kermit's at.
Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic for Sierra Nevada off-roading, Rubicon, Forward Ice, stuff like that. But my concern is now I'm going to go to Moab, and my first trip with that vehicle, I want to go to Moab, and I'm like, this is going to be taller than Bobcat. Granted, Bobcat was on leaf springs, and this is going to be on coil suspension, and Bobcat is narrow, and this is going to be wider. So it still might all be fine. It might be like Bobcat was originally kind of scenario. I don't know. So I guess there's only one way to see.
Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. Being wider, I definitely noticed the difference in Moab last time from being wider than the narrow Toyota axles when I was on those. The big thing that got me in Moab this time was just the short wheelbase, 107.5 inch wheelbase. It was I don't know. Now that I know a little bit more about how to wheel big ledges in Moab is Pritchett Canyon. I think I could do a couple of those obstacles without winching, but I mean, I've never used momentum on steep ledges before that much, and
Right.
so I'm not used to the
Yeah.
feeling of letting the front end lighten up because I'm going up so much. So,
Yeah.
you being in a 120-inch wheelbase, and a little bit wider now on tuned suspension, I think it's going to be a massive,
Well,
massive difference. I don't think you're going to have too many issues with it.
yeah. I mean, the 120 is Bobcat. Samantha is like 107, 108 stock. I think it's right around what the Forerunner is.
Really?
'Cause,
I thought it
yeah.
was longer.
Well, it's only a single cab truck, and it's 2-wheel drive. I don't know if that has too much of a difference to it, but no, it's pretty small. But I'm planning on stretching the rear out quite a ways if I can. I'm going to try to I'm pushing the frame mount links back about as far as I possibly can to
Okay.
be more or less where the frame goes flat, and then it starts to go up for where the wheel well is, and I'm going to push the whole thing back, I think, about as far as I can.
Okay.
We'll see, but I really want to get it up into those like 15 to 18 range, 115 to 118 inch wheelbase. That's my
then
goal.
you'll get to fall in all the 4-door Jeep holes.
Yeah, that yes, but that's, I mean, it's the other choice is to be slightly shorter, and I think I'd rather be as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, I agree. Although
Yep,
I prefer girth over length. Just
yeah.
FYI.
Well, I'm gonna have a little bit of both, for sure. So, I'll be right where all the JKs are in a way, because I'm definitely have the wider axles. They're just a little bit shorter than where a full width would possibly be. So if somebody's running full widths on their Jeep, then they might be a little bit wider, but I don't know where the JK sits in that length. And then I'm going to be about as long as a JK JL. So I'm going to be I'm more or less, I think I'm going to be where the 44s, the Dana 44 axled, like JK people are going to be. That's where Samantha's going to end up.
You're really just building a Jeep. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, with Toyota parts. Yeah.
I want 21 to 22 inch frame height, just like a Jeep. I want a 117-inch wheelbase, just like a Jeep. I want a 65, 66 WMS, just like a Jeep.
Yep, exactly. And I want 538s, not 529s.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Too funny.
So that's what's up with Samantha. I listened to a lot of your comments, and I will try to make weekly updates on what's kind of going on or what I'm up to. I've been starting to work on the YouTube video for Samantha in some of my afternoon free time. So I'm really hoping the start of the year I'm going to be able to pump out my first Samantha video. That's sort of my goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Besides
That's
that,
exciting.
not a whole lot else going on. I do now that we have the links and everything, I'm going to start making the pan hard bar and tie rod, and really try to set, and the upper link, and really try to set that axle into position. And then from there, it's pretty much rear axle time after that.
Sweet.
So maybe Christmas time. I do want to talk to you about schedules and what you're up to, and podcast schedule, and what we're going to be up to for podcasting times. Maybe we'll after air, but we'll find out if there's some availability during Christmas time era that we could chop an axle down and start setting that up. I do know that Husmann and I have talked about presetting the cross member and mounts, and like setting that into place, tacking it together so that we can then set it onto the axle and then rotate the pinion, and then set the pinion at the right angle. So then the top would be at the right angle, and then simply just tack the whole unit down when it gets to that point. So there's some things that we can do before we cut the axle down, but we're coming pretty close to getting to that point.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that'll be
Cool.
fun and
I
exciting.
want to play around with the rear axle.
I know you love playing around in the rear, so we can definitely arrange something for you. I'll just make sure to wear my gloves. So besides that, that's pretty much all I have to update about Samantha and my chaos of life. This week's going to be is the chaos is just continuing because it's tech week for the mini assistant. And every single day she has theater, which we're recording on a Tuesday today like we normally do. So we'll drop her off at theater, and then we're going to walk across the street and go to Monk's, and they have trivia tonight. So we're going to have dinner at Monk's, have a whiskey, and play some trivia and wait for the kid to get out. So today's going to be a good day.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Sweet, man. Well, I'm glad that we get to still sit down and catch up, even though we're not sitting down together.
Yeah. Tear.
Sad. Yeah. But we still get to sit down and see what each other are up to and have some good times. So we have a really fun interview scheduled. A couple of fun interviews coming up for you guys to kind of cap out an end of the year. Both of them I'm really excited about. So keep your ear holes open for the next couple Monday episodes. And then Christmas is coming up very quickly. Hopefully you guys got all your holiday shopping done, or it's about done because you're running out of time. I did all my holiday shopping last night at 1 a.m.
Nice. I still have so much to do.
Oh, man. So except for yours. Yours actually came in quite a bit earlier. So
Okay.
I think it about does it, man. Yeah, everybody will be back tomorrow with Snail Mail. I have a fun little update, fun story about snail mail, so we'll go over that tomorrow's episode. And after that, it's a weekend, and then Monday. So everybody enjoy. Hopefully you had a good time with the show today. If you have any feedback for us, or you have questions about some stuff that we said, send it on in to Jimmy or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com. You can find us on the Instaland Graham Place. I watch over 4x4 Toyota Tyler. And Jimmy watches over Snail Trail 4x4. And then you can also call in to our voicemail line that we go over on Fridays. We talked about in our snail mail segment. That number is 916-345-4744. So give us a call. We love chatting with you guys. We love hearing from you on the voicemail. And it's now one of our favorite segments. We love doing it. So give us a call. Love chatting with you guys. I think that about does it. Jimmy,
funny thing, I forgot where I was. I was somewhere, and I was like leaving, like for a restaurant, and I was like leaving my name and number there at the queue to be called to go in. And the lady was like, "What's your number?" And I started leaving the voicemail line because I say it so much. It's like, it was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, "Oh wait, that's not my number. Hold on, my number is this."
That's funny. Well, cool, man. Yeah, if anybody calls and gets a restaurant, no, I guess it would be the restaurant one called me. So
yeah,
my reservation would be ready at a restaurant. So
there you go.
Yeah, man. Anything to say to wrap up the episode today?
Those 4-wheel underground aluminum links are so sexy. They look so good. I love them. And we did have a few people commenting about like, why are you adding aluminum links? And I asked like Brian to give me some feedback about aluminum links, and he said that the aluminum links, I think they're 2.5 inch, are I think she said they're twice as strong as steel links. Yeah. That's nuts. That's wild to me. So fun fact for y'all.
Yeah, the really nice thing about aluminum is that you can make more material. Therefore, they can be stronger and still have the same weight as a steel link. So their strength to weight ratio is higher.
Yep.
Therefore, you can make them the same weight as a steel link and have way more strength. So
yes,
yeah, they're nice. My only issue with aluminum links is if something happens to them on the trail, you're not welding them on the trail. But then again, if you're breaking a 2.5 inch aluminum link, you probably have broken a lot of other things too. So there is that.
Yes.
All right. That does it, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. We'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Sure, if you say so.
Are you ready? You ready for this joke?
I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'm gonna be.
All right, good. I said to the mini assistant, why do blacksmiths always get in trouble?
I don't know why.
Yeah, she actually came up with a good one. It's probably because of stealing. And I said, no,
Uh,
it's because of forgery.
Yep. They do that. They forge a lot of things.
Yeah.
Kind of like my wet signature.
That
on
one
my-
was sent to me by
my
Hustle
check.
Nuts.